The Nalu women were gone, but Uboro did not return to peace. The men felt hollow. The women felt bruised in spirit. Children sensed a heaviness in the wind, and the unity that once held Uboro together was weak, like clothes soaked in rain. The elders begged the people, walk again, forgive again, rebuild again. But forgiveness is not a broom, it sweeps nothing easily. Husbands avoided their wives' eyes. Wives cried behind their huts. Friends stopped visiting each other. Families whispered mistrust into the night. Alaa walked from home to home saying, "This is not your fault. They deceived everyone. We must rebuild or Uboro will not survive." Slowly, painfully, the people tried. But as Uboro tried to heal, something else began growing. Strange footprints by the river, cold winds in dry season nights, children insisting that they saw 3 shadows at the old gate, and every dawn, the villagers woke up feeling watched. The elders stayed calm on the outside, but inside, fear sat heavy like a stone. Before Uboro's fear began, before the strange winds came, one thing had happened quietly. The old priestess, a woman who had lived long enough to remember Uboro's first sunrise, called Alaa to her bedside. Her voice was thin, her body weaker than dried leaves, but her eyes sharp. "Alaa," she whispered, "you are the one who sees clearly. You are the one who does not bend." She reached under her mat and pulled out a small calabash, carved with ancient symbol. This calabash holds the last priestess warning, and she understood. Evil had returned without footstep. That night, Alaa did not sleep deeply. Body rested, but her spirit walked. She found herself in the forest clearing, the same place she once saw the ritual. The ground was cold, the darkness was thick. A slow chant trembled through the trees. Then Lanri appeared, more beautiful, more dangerous, her eyes glowing like burning beads. "Allah," Lanri whispered, "you exposed us. You interrupted our feast. You broke our walk." Allah stepped back. "Why have you returned?" Lanri smiled like a blade. "Returned? We never left." Behind her, Senna and Mira formed like smoke taking shape. Lanri leaned close. "A village that has tasted disunity remains weak for many seasons. You chased us away, but you cannot chase what we planted." Allah woke, drenched in sweat. The dream was no dream. It was a message. Days passed. The Nalu women did not appear physically, but Uboro felt them. Arguments cracked through homes again. Friends became hostile. Women whispered jealousy. Men carried resentment. Envies sharpened. Gossip spread like fire. It was as if an invisible seed had ripened in every heart. Allah felt it. A heaviness, a bitterness, a pull towards chaos. She gathered the elders. "The women of Nalu planted something inside all of us," she said. It grew while they were gone. They do not need to step foot here to destroy us. The elders nodded slowly. They felt it too. So what do we do? One elder asked. Alaa touched the hidden calabash under her wrapper. We must remain calm and we must reclaim our unity. Until we do, their powers remain tied to us. But unity was harder to grow than cassava, harder than healing, harder than truth. 3 nights later, boom, 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 the sacred festival drums, untouched by human hands, began to beat themselves, slow, heavy, dark, like footsteps of something ancient. Villagers rushed out of their homes trembling. The elders surrounded the drums. Alaa arrived last, clutching the calabash the priestess gave her. Suddenly, silence. The wind stopped. The trees froze. Every face turned towards the village gate. And there stood 3 women, Larry, Senna, Mira. They did not walk closer. They did not speak. They simply watched, beautiful, still, waiting for Uboro to fall apart on its own. And then with a blink, they vanished like mist. The elders met until dawn. They could not fight shadows. They could not touch spirits. They could not stab beauty made of smoke. But they could repair the one thing the Nalu women feared: unity. Every family must forgive, they declared. Every couple must rebuild. Every friendship must be restored. We must heal from inside, or Uboro will fall forever. Alaa stepped forward, gripping the calabash. This is our only weapon, she said. The priestess left it for this reason. The time will come when we use it. The elders bowed their heads. The people agreed painfully. But unity takes time. And the Nalu women knew that. At sunrise, Uboro tried. Men returned to farms. Women worked together. Children laughed again. Husbands apologized. Wives forgave slowly. Friends rebuilt trust. And for the first time in many months, Uboro felt lighter. But Alaa felt a whisper behind the wind. Lanri's voice, Senna's giggle, Mira's footsteps on dry leaves. She held the calabash tighter. This is far from over, she murmured. From deep inside the forest, a soft voice answered with a cold smile. Not yet. The drums did not beat softly this time. They thundered. Villagers woke with their hearts racing. Children cried. Fires flickered out. The winds twisted through the huts like something alive. Alaa jumped from her mat. The calabash pressed against her chest. She knew this night had come. The elders ran into the square. The drums are not calling for dance. One whispered, they are calling for witnesses. The sound grew louder, pulling them, dragging them, leading them. Everyone, old, young, angry, fearful, walked into the forest as if strings were tied to their soul. Alaa pushed through the moving cloud. Stop! Don't go, she shouted. But their feet continued. Their bodies obeyed something their minds could not refuse. The drums were summoning Uboro to its final test. The sound guided them to the clearing, the place where the first ceremony happened. But tonight, it pulsed with unnatural power. Larry stood in the center, Senna on her left, Mira on her right. But they were not as they once were. Their beauty had sharpened, their glow had intensified, their eyes burned like polished obsidian. They looked perfected, inhumanly perfect. Larry stretched her arms outward. Uboro, she said softly, we came to finish what we began. The villagers froze, not with fear, with aching desire. Men stepped forward, then the women, their bodies leaning involuntarily, as if something pulled at their ribs. Alaa fought her way to the front. Stop, she yelled. They are feeding on you. This is a trap. Larry returned with a slow, poisonous smile. Brave Alaa, always trying to save a village that never listens. She lifted her hands. Senna and Mira began their dance. The ground cracked open. Fire rose. Shadows lengthened. The air bent into shapes not meant for human eyes. The villagers fell to their knees, not screaming, but sighing as if giving in to something sweet. Thin, slim, beautiful, glowing essence floated from their bodies towards the Nalu women. Larry inhaled gently, her eyes fluttering in pleasure. Unity, loyalty, strength, love, all so delicious. The villagers cried out as their energy drained. Some fainted, some reached for help that wasn't there. Allah's fist tightened. This was the moment the priestess warned her about. This was the moment the calabash was made for. Allah stepped forward. This time, she did not tremble. She did not run. She did not hide. She held the sacred calabash high. You feed on unity, she shouted, voice shaking the clearing. Then it shattered into light, not shards, but pure white energy. A shockwave exploded outward, violent, ancient, unstoppable. The ritual flames burst apart. The shadows evaporated. Senna screamed, a sound bending reality. Mira collapsed, trembling as if her bones were turning to dust. Larry staggered backward as cracks appeared across her glowing skin, spreading like lightning. What have you done? She said. Allah stood tall. I gave back to Uboro everything you stole. The villagers gasped as their strength snapped back into their bodies, like stretched ropes finally released. Their charity sharpened, their memories returned, their willpower reignited. The Nalu women flickered, their beauty warped, their glow dimmed. They cried, three unnatural cries that shook leaves from the trees and cracked small stones on the ground. Then their bodies dissolved into smoke, twisting, stretching, disappearing into the wind, and finally silence. The Nalu women were gone for good. The elders approached Allah at sunrise, their faces tired but filled with relief. What you did saved Uboro, they said softly. You returned what we lost. Allah looked at the empty clearing. Her voice was quiet but firm. Not everything returns. Some wounds do not heal, they only stop bleeding. The village began to rebuild again, but this time with caution, with boundaries, with lessons carved deep into their hearts. Love was treated with care, desire with wisdom, unity with fierce protection, and at the edge of the forest, Uboro placed three stones, one for Larry, one for Senna, one for Mira, not as honor, but as a reminder, as protection, as warning. And every generation on Uboro whispers these words: beauty is not danger, unquestioned beauty is. Desire is not evil, but blind desire is. And the women of Nalu return whenever a village forgets.